Now, it wouldn't be Christmas without setting fire to your dessert. But the question is always, what should you actually use? Well, the first thing is to make sure that the liquid you use, the alcohol, is at least 40% proof. So here we've got this pretty standard brandy. We've also got an orange brandy kind of mix. And then because we're modern kids, we've also got a bit of gin. Now, the advantage with the gin is it's actually 43%, so it's a bit more sporty. So I'm just going to pop that into here because we're going to do a bit of an experiment to see which is best. So now I'm just going to get a bit of the brandy in there as well. Now, something I should mention is I've actually already preheated up these little ramekins. That's quite key as well. The alcohol wants to be as warm as you can. And then what we'll do is we're going to set fire to it, because the whole point of this, of course, in this world of Instagram, it's no good having a really lovely fire on your Christmas pudding unless you can actually take a good picture of it. So let's have a look and see what happens. But before we do that, we need to change the mood. That's much better. Right, okay, so a little bit of fire. Let's just light these up. So now you can see that there isn't an awful lot of difference. In fact, the kind of nearly pure alcohol, you can see it's a very, very blue flame, which is very difficult to actually pick up with the camera. There's a little tiny bit, perhaps, of yellowness here on our sort of mostly grape base. There might be a tiny bit of sugar left in there. You can see there's a little yellow sort of flecks in our sort of very, very sugar-based liqueur. Now, what you can do is you can actually make that a bit more interesting. So if you actually add perhaps a little bit of sugar, I'll just sprinkle that in, you can see your flame then starts to go orange. It's already cooling down, it's quite chilly in here. But you can do a much better job by adding perhaps a little bit of salt, which is probably not ideal for your Christmas pudding, but it certainly makes a much better job of things as the sodium goes lovely and orange. What a wonderful colour that is. So if you want a really fantastic photo, obviously you're going to need to use a bit of salt and maybe then pass the pudding on to someone else to eat. Otherwise, that's the way to get a wonderful flame. So now we've done this experiment, we should now do it properly with a pudding. Ooh, wow. Right, well, there is our pudding in our preheated dish, which is vitally important. So that helps keep the pudding warm, but also keeps warming up the alcohol as well. Now, the next thing we're going to need, obviously, is a little bit of that sugar. Or do you want salt instead? Should we go with salt?
No sugar.
Okay. So, I mean, you don't have to do this, but it kind of helps a little bit. Just put a little bit of the sugar on there. And hopefully that's going to help hold on to the alcohol. Maybe a bit too much sugar there. And then it's also going to hopefully change the colour of our flame. Right, so now the next thing we're going to need is our alcohol of choice. I'm going to go with one with all the liqueur in there. It's pretty much 50% liqueur. So, of course, there's lots more sugar in there. So, again, you're going to get much more of an orangey flame. And it tastes better as well, which is obviously a big bonus. So the next thing we're going to need is a nice hot ladle to preheat the alcohol, get it as hot as possible before it goes anywhere near our hot pudding and its hot base. So I need a bit of a change of mood. Paul, give us a hand. There we are. Fantastic. Thank you, Paul. Wonderful. So now what we're going to do is just put our alcohol actually into the ladle. And get it nice and warm. And then we set fire to it. Warm it up a little bit more. And then pour it over our pudding. Look at that.
That is nice.
Wow.
Look at that.
Tasty.
And hopefully we can Instagram that all over the place.